Simon, good to see you, my friend. It looks like we're missing a trooper in Burge. I think he might still be.
Where is he?
I think he might still be.
Is he hidden?
I think he might still be in bed. Folks,
I'd love to. Why don't we actually? I wish we had a little hidden camera. He's probably snoring away, but
it's bizarre. When we do it at 3 o'clock or 3 p.m. UK time, he's usually on time, and
I think he's awake by then, isn't he? Yeah. It reminds me of my son Jude, who's like nearly 16, and
yeah,
I think he might still be asleep. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
I think it's when you spend a lot of time online, especially communicating with people in the US, you have this tendency to stay up a little bit later because obviously messaging or you might be in spaces calls or live streams or whatever, and then your whole body clock is just out of sync.
I know.
So I know exactly where it's coming from, mate. Obviously, big event in the UK or in England that's happening today. People talking about a bank holiday if England win the Soccer World Cup. Obviously, we're playing against Argentina, which is going to be interesting because there's a lot of talk around FIFA kind of helping them out throughout the tournament. They've had a little bit of an easy run. They've not really had any teams of note that they've had to beat. Messi probably should have got a red card in the first game. Didn't. He should have missed 2 games and got away with it. Some of the VAR decisions have been out of this world. I thought Egypt got robbed. So it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens today. What do you think?
It is.
What do you think the score will be?
Well, I'm such a massive fan of football generally. Sorry, soccer. Oh, football. It's football. It's football. I've gone through so many World Cups, the 1986, 1990, and just going through the pain of watching England. I presume all fans of all nations go through the same pain, but my personal feeling is we are a better team if you look at actually the individuals in the team and the bench we've got, which is probably one of the first times I'd say that over the years. With Argentina, they've got very good players. A lot of them play either in the Premier League or somewhere in Europe. So people are they know each other very well.
Yeah.
And some of the key Premier League stars and La Liga play for us. It's not like it used to be in terms of the fear of they are a better team. Yeah. It's more that people talking about how streetwise they are.
Yeah.
Apart from anything else, they've got that kind of tournament experience a little bit more than we have getting it to the final stages of a tournament. Although believe it or not, we got to the semi-finals of the last 4 out of 5 major tournaments. So that is something to say. You go back to Russia, you go back to always. So we're clearly a nation of a footballing team which is on the rise in terms of consistency and quality. It's all in here.
It's the psychological thing of just getting over the line. We've not won a tournament since '66.
So we haven't, and yet we got to the final of the European Championships or whatever it was, and then semi-finals in Russia. I mean, we've done really well. It's time to get over the line. It's time to go get out of this kind of restrictive play and just let go. And I think we can do it. And that's the end of Carrot Lane. Great to see you all.
I just while you're talking to me, I'm just having a conversation with Burge, actually, who thought that the meet time was 3 p.m., but we'll kind of carry on.
I love that. I love it. He'll suddenly come in. He'll suddenly pop in. He'll probably have his pajamas on.
Oh, my God. We've had an interesting week in crypto. Obviously, prices have rallied because of the inflation data. Inflation is down from 4.2% in May to 3.5% now in June. Obviously, it's obviously a lagging indicator. It's obviously had a direct impact on pricing. This Iran situation is an ongoing thing. The war's won, then it's not. The Strait is open, then it's not. Iran are in control of the Strait. No, they're not. The US are. But it's having an interesting impact or mixed bag effect on obviously crypto prices. Bitcoin's rallied. Obviously, you said just off air that obviously a huge function of the NFTs is Ethereum. And when ETH is down by 20, 30, 40%, it has such a massive impact on your NFTs. There's a whole bunch of people on the timeline calling for a Bitcoin at 50K low for a whole bunch of bizarre reasons, because they're using the same percentage as it dropped last year. So they think it gets down to a 40K low. What are your thoughts around it? Do you think we'd kind of drop any lower? Do you think we're somewhere near the bottom?
I think again, it's purely just from our own personal experience, not because of any expertise. I don't think it's going to go quite as low as that. That's just a personal thing about that. And I think we are near the bottom, and it's great to see a little recovery. It's amazing how that just has this knock-on effect in the world of NFTs, doesn't it? There's a few other factors we'll talk about possibly later with X as well.
Yeah.
But some converging kind of catalysts which just give you a little uptick. One thing I was going to say, just as a reminder for later, was, we were thinking about the things we covered today. Forgot to talk about or note the Robin Hood NFT effect that has drained a few. I know we'll come back to that maybe.
Yeah,
it's drained a few of the NFTs on ETH, but I think that seems to be coming back now, back to ETH. So generally, I'm feeling quite positive.
Yeah.
Actually,
no, I think
it's great to see.
Yeah. I mean, I think so as well. I mean, obviously it helps when Bitcoin pumps. A lot of people kind of debate the fundamentals of certain technologies or businesses or ecosystems, when the reality is the silver bullet to all of this is Bitcoin just needs to go up in price, because as people's risk appetite improves, they kind of rotate further down the risk curve and all the stuff rises. And then you're not talking about or debating about these micro things. You're just saying, well, why isn't Bitcoin going up in price? Well, geopolitical stuff is, like, in terms of tension, is really high. Oil prices are high, but it's seeming like if we can get the inflation down, if interest rates can come down, but also another thing that we're kind of talking about off air was the Clarity Act. Obviously, the Clarity Act, I think they've got the Senate have got until the 7th of August to pass it, and if they don't, it could get pushed back till 2030. But I was looking at the votes. I think they need 60 votes. There's 52 Republicans. There's 2 Republicans voting against it. So Republicans need 10 Democrats to be able to pass it. Obviously, I don't know enough about US politics, but this is increasingly looking less and less likely, which I guess isn't really a positive thing. Although Trump did tweet the other day to say, hey, guys, we need to pass this through. I think he was using that Republican who died recently. Is it his name? Lindsey Graham, is it? Yeah. Using him as a vessel to say, hey, right, we need to pay homage to him by passing this or whatever. I don't know. It's just I guess that's a Trump thing. Do you think the Clarity Act actually has a massive impact on crypto pricing?
It's a really good question. I think psychologically it may really open things up for people. For those who are waiting on the sidelines, although you do see contrary articles written and YouTube posts that are saying, actually everyone's getting really sort of saying this is the be all and end all, the make or break. They're saying actually not necessarily, because things are already happening. It's already being adopted. Blockchain is already being adopted anyway. Tokenization, the use of the blockchain. It wasn't doing so badly in bull runs without a Clarity Act. So, and also, without going on to anything about the war, because that isn't what this program's about, but a lot of people are saying Sounds like we're doing a bloody Netflix series.
Just the
This show,
mate.
yeah,
This is like
being on the, yeah, this Sky News bulletin is I think, you know, there's a lot about once people get used to something, then they kind of accept it. You know, people are talking about the war, and people saying the most possible, the probable outcome is going to be a bit of a never-ending war, where it just is a war of attrition. And then when that happens, if that happens, it may not, then it kind of, people adapt, and then they carry on in their own way within that space. And so ultimately, I think things will come back, whatever happens.
Yeah.
Because it's just being adopted more. The technology is being adopted more. That's what it is.
It just felt like it hasn't really been off to the races. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, last year we had gold and silver have a run, which was interesting. You know, I was going into the gym, and like I've got some gym buddies who are like, they're young guys. You'd think they would like lean into like, I guess, newer technology, lean into things that are digitized, because they spend a lot of their time of their lives online, buying physical silver, And it was really interesting to see that people doing it. It's like the pendulum shift it's like the countercultural thing. If everyone's pushing in one direction, or they have this feeling of euphoria in one direction, you get a whole bunch of people that go, no, fuck that, I'm going to move in the other direction. And then obviously gold and silver have a run. The Fed chair, Kevin Walsh, who is, I think he's known historically to be an inflation hawk. Obviously, he comes in, and then gold and silver collapse. Stocks collapse and gold and silver go up in price. Then obviously we've had a few IPOs this year, which are largely driven by AI. So people thinking, like, kind of speculating that AI is a bubble. But there's a lot of people that have made money in a lot of things. And if you're in crypto, you haven't made any money on anything really. I was reading a post about like, if you held Bitcoin before Trump got in and you put 10 grand in, it would be worth like, I think it'd be worth like 6.5 grand. And then it goes through all of the tokens. Like if you bought Trump token, you put 10 grand in, it'd be worth like $350 or something. He must be, again, without talking about politics, but he must be acutely aware of that. There's a whole bunch of his voter base that are holding tokens that he's rallied on. He's rallied on the fact, I mean, they've just released his I guess the equivalent of their end of year statement, or his banking files, or his end of year accounts. And he's made a shit ton of money on his meme coins, his NFTs. He'll be acutely aware that a lot of his supporter base, because he ran on being crypto friendly.
Yes, absolutely.
They're down, and we've got the midterms in November.
He want to please them. He
will want to please them, and a lot of what he does is kind of like, he says things that are outlandish, but when the act plays, he looks like the genius. And I know I've like kind of watched his strategy. And recently he started saying, we'll never leave crypto behind. And he started being a bit more bullish. While
to bring that up again. Little sort of things to hang on to. And how about, that we were going to mention last week and we didn't, was Melania Trump's done really well out of digital assets. She has as well. Her figures, and it was 6 million she made on digital assets.
I don't know.
So someone's doing quite well.
I don't know how you can make that much money when there's that many people that have failed. That's got to hurt your brand. How many celebrities? Yeah. How many celebrities have launched tokens? I mean, I remember that Hoc Trois girl. You know, when she goes viral.
Yes. Yeah.
She went viral for going, oh, you got a Hoc Trois and spit on that thing. And she does a token. I think the team sold like maybe 5% of their allocation to fund operations. And then they had CoffeeZilla basically saying it's a scam token. You can't just dump on it. You've got to hold the token, blah, blah, blah. And you've got Trump and Melania. I mean, they're making hundreds of millions, and the token is a failure. Trump token is down 95%. Yeah. And it's like, and you've got someone who's made money out of it. I mean, largely you'd say, hold on a second, would you put money back into it, or market buy your own token, or do something to feed back into the community? I don't know. Obviously, I imagine that both Trump and Melania have like a blind trust. In other words, they have other people that would be doing in the investing in the background versus them, because there'd be a conflict of interest, obviously, especially when it comes to meme coins, which is interesting. While we're on the topic of meme coins, did you see that video of the pensioner, the 64-year-old who I think he was in Yellowstone Park, and there's a bison there, and he's running around a tree, and he gets flicked up in the air. Well, I've got the video.
Running around a tree.
Basically,
was he running away from it around the tree?
Well, you're about to see now.
Okay.
The reason why I'm playing this video is because there is no there's no love lost in crypto for diving on an opportunity and trying to make money out of something. Shortly after this video launched and went monumentally viral, a token called the Charging Bison was launched and went up to about $400,000 market cap. It's now corrected by about 60 or 70%. But have a look at this. Have a look at this video, mate. Let's just see if I can get it on here. Here we go.
Can you expand it a little?
Yeah.
Brilliant. God, that's enormous, isn't it?
Why would you be on foot? You got two people in the background taking a photo. We can maybe just push this along a little bit. Oh, it's lying down.
Now it's getting a little twitchy.
Now it's getting twitchy. Chasing after a car. Surely you would just jump in the back of the right. He was the one taking the picture.
Oh my God.
He was the one taking the picture. Now the bison's chasing him around the tree. Oh my God. Just get behind the biggest tree.
It's like they're doing the hide and seek. Trying to.
Oh my God. It's chasing him. It's chasing him. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Get in the car. Get in the car. Oh no.
Shoo, God.
Wow. Wowza.
Yeah. And you said that was then a meme and it got a market cap of 400,000.
Yeah. So obviously crypto has dived on the opportunity of this viral moment. The guy's fine, thankfully. I wouldn't have shared that video if he wasn't. I think he's got a broken femur. He's on 2 feet at the moment, but there's no missed opportunity in crypto to try and make money off of.
Did he get an allocation?
I hope he did, mate. I'm not entirely sure if he did or not. But that's the meme coin trenches for you.
That's the madness. Yeah, absolutely.
I know. I want to quickly segue into NFTs. I was reading a post of yours. You kind of wrote a bit of an open letter to I think Tezos or the team at World of Women. Obviously we've had V on a couple of times.
Yeah.
Very engaging, very positive about the project. Obviously we've not heard any I guess communication or anything after that. You did a bit of an open letter on your X account of, hey guys, we need some communication here. I mean, you hold a fair few World of Women, right?
I do. And it's not because of that. I mean, just that it's not one of those posts which goes behind the scenes and I can't bear the fact my bags are down, because actually at the moment it's not at all about price. It's to do with communication and leadership, isn't it? And I was really umming and ahhing about whether I should put that out, because I would never usually, as I said, I'm not prone to publicly airing my frustration about specific collections, but I just felt it was just unbelievable, the amount of people in the community who were just asking privately and within Discord, please, someone just communicate. V's gone, Sweet Pea's gone. We've had no news, very sparse, to be fair, just bland posts from the World of Women account, who I imagine are a skeleton team of some sort, possibly. Got no idea, who would just no one blames them. They're just probably just doing what they need to do and not really, and being told not to say anything. So I just wrote this open letter to the board and just said, if you're interested, if you agree that, you know, it's not about, as I said, it's not about, we don't expect instant market miracles. It's nothing to do with that. But we just do demand basic corporate and Web3 accountability. And, you know, the project art may belong to its creators, but its value and its heartbeat belong to the community. And just please stop the silence. We believe there is an accountability to the people who drove the success of this, which are the people who are the community and board. And so just tell us what's going on. And quite a few people, surprisingly, in a way, I didn't know if it would really get any kind of traction, did get back and share and said, look, thanks for sharing that. And I've been a part of the community for so long that it was the last thing I wanted to do. But I just thought, I'm sorry, there comes a point when it's really about fairness, isn't it? It becomes a principle. And they could be just undoing so much good work and goodwill by continue to do this.
Do you think a project like that still be able to trade off of its provenance, or it being, I guess, the very first female project? Genuinely,
probably. Yeah, I think if there's a bull market and it all starts going up, it will go up, just because it will. And anything that was from 2021 that held some, but don't forget they achieved a lot. They had big moments, didn't they, in 21, 22, and I think there is that provenance. But I don't know how far that will stretch without a proper direction and proper leadership, when you've got all the other collections, or some of them, who are just constantly working hard and doing stuff, whether it's Planosaurs, Chimpers, whether it's Gary out there with VFriends, people communicating the whole time and actually doing something. I think people who are doing that now are putting in the hard work. And, you know, you talk about the bank of goodwill, don't you? They're putting a lot into the bank of goodwill. And I think that pays dividends when there's a bull market. So yes, in short, I think Wonder Women probably would see something, but nothing like they would if they just had some bloody proper leadership once, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I think the problem with the lack of communication is it drives speculation. So then people make up things in their heads that maybe aren't even there. I mean, Tim Livingston, I really like him. He's part of the VFriends community. He's actually just posted. He's posted something about the Wowster token. I thought Wowster was probably a mistake. I didn't quite want to say it to the team, but you had a whole bunch of people trading these strategy tokens, and they went off on their own direction, which was largely a failure. And they turned it around into this positive thing. I think the contract got hacked into. People lost money, and then they came out and said, we hold ourselves to this high standard, and basically turned it around to say there was a positive thing when basically people had lost money. But obviously you can see on my screen at the moment, I'm just on Tim Livingston's page, just for the people that listen to this in audio. He says there, so WoW floored and got the fuck out. Really sad to see the former blue chip just left for dead. And he's posted on here. WoW team announced that they were collaborating with. WoW team announced that they were collaborating with them, and that Wowster would be released soon as well. This worked well because it generated hype, and the floor price immediately pumped. They dumped their NFTs on the market, and a few days later they announced that their Wowster token had nothing to do with TokenWorks, and that they wanted to try making one on their own. So, I mean, obviously we know that part of it. The only reason why I've shared Tim Livingston's post is because he actually he posted a day ago, which was really interesting. It's the replies, Simon. It's the replies from people.
I think I'm there. I think I must have replied. God knows what I said.
Can you see it on there? I think your replies. I know it's inexcusable, not communicating what is happening. Just posted something about this myself, interestingly. Obviously, you get a few of the sexist comments, and I think this is actually part of the problem of not communicating, because you get people say things like, "Figure a woman would ghost us." I don't know how to fucking. Someone's put in there. A woman would ghost us. And then obviously you got Pappy, who's just for the people listening at home, Pappy, who's the Quirkies CEO, has just posted a gif of two blind people walking across a bridge or
blind
something.
leading the blind kind of thing. I mean, don't you think it's madness? But it's like, don't throw away. It's such an important collection on leadership that just doesn't work. I mean,
who is teacher 96 Katie? Is she part of the WoW community? Because I know
I don't know, what did she, I think so.
I think she listens in quite a lot, and obviously she's put some eye emojis, and then Tim Livingston's replied with, "It's an honest question, to be honest," and she's replied with, "It's just an honest answer." So it's and then obviously you get people saying that they're scammers, and then and then obviously you get the sexist comments. You've obviously, it's just, it's crazy. Supposedly, WoW.
It is. But I was going to say, Jaden, that it's kind of this unbelievable wall of challenge, because I don't know what it is about leading World of Women. I'd be fascinated to, if you went back through all the people who've taken over since the founders, because there's been a series, it'd be really fascinating to say, look, what was it? Was there anything specific about leading World of Women that was making things tough? Because no one purposely goes out there to try to make a hash of things, right? I think we can probably safely say that V went down the wrong path for a lot of people who were already here, and maybe she'll have her reasons for why she did what she did. But it would be interesting, because I hate jumping on a kind of all or nothing, black or white kind of view. Is there anything about the Tezos relationship with World of Women that has made it very difficult for a series of leaders to be able to do things? I don't know, because on the one hand, remember with Wowster, they were saying, well, which they were alluding to, V was saying, well, we were able to do what we did with Wowster because we've got some great resources, technical resources, which we immediately thought, is that Tezos? Is that the Tezos? They've got a big foundation.
As soon as she said that, Simon, it's not the resources that drive the value, it's the users. All of this shit
of
is
course,
the community.
I know. It's you can build what you like.
You have 5,000 people trading TokenWorks strategy tokens. They're trading in and out of these things. And if you look at what happened with Good Vibes Club and Chimpers, they had a huge treasury to start with. I think Good Vibes Club had 600 odd NFTs in their treasury. And that shot in the arm is the thing that set the token off. And now it's just a self-perpetuating thing. Exactly. And that's the biggest thing they got wrong. They were like, well, and actually it did become I read an article of someone who, it was a little bit close to the bone, but what he said is that it became this kind of the females having to prove themselves to the males versus actually just responding to market reality of, this is where the value is. It's in the value of people trading the assets. So then what they did was they created their own website, created Wowster, and they had their reasons for doing it, and that's fine. But the reality is that it was, the attention wasn't on that website. The attention was on TokenWorks at the time, and that was a fumble. We had a meetup in London, and Sweet Pea and V are big. I take them for face value. They're really nice people for face value. I've heard different things, obviously, about V or whatever. But the execution of the meetup, Burge, who's still half asleep in an afternoon,
he's still in his pajamas.
He could probably do this in his sleep. And it's just
do you remember, Jaden, the one we went to in London when Benny came along from Dumb Wonders and a whole lot of people that Burge organised? If I compare what he did with what I experienced, and I know have always been incredibly, they've got a great reputation for putting on the big dues. They do very well. But what was happening was in ours, I think, because I went to one just about a month before, didn't I, in London? And they were passing through in talks with people in London, and they decided probably to kill two birds with one stone and have a meetup. But it was a little bit underwhelming. I mean, it's lovely to connect with people, but it was a bit underwhelming.
Yeah.
And I agree. And Burgess one in London was about 10 times more.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, we all mucked
Professional,
in.
really.
Yeah, we all mucked in and helped him or whatever. But it's that's where I thought they got that wrong. And then when I went to the meetup, I was like, I don't know. I think the hype of, because when V first got into World of Woman, the floor price pumped. The floor price doubled based on, because there was this thing going around that she had raised $6 million for Pudgy Penguins and had been a significant part of it. Then you heard some people in the initial team saying, "No, that's bullshit. That's actually not true." And this is not to attack V or whatever, but there was all of that. And then I saw, hold on a second. I went to the meetup in London. I was like, this is not matching up with the hype of someone who executes at a high level. And then also I saw the Wowster thing and I thought, I think these are mistakes. And then also to not believe it's a mistake, to then go, oh,
Yes.
no, it's fine. It was actually very well done and we did it. But the reality is it was a fumble because taking advantage of that at the time would have meant at least 300, 400, 500 World of Woman NFTs in the treasury. You'd have had 5,000 new wallets in Wowster, trading Wowster. Then that operates as a lead magnet into the NFT. And then it becomes a success. And then all of a sudden the attention flows are back on to the project. And I think that's the thing that they got wrong.
Yes. And one thing to round that up, just to say, Jane, as well, is that it's been so opaque and ambiguous for so long, the whole relationship with Tezos. So what I'm talking about really is that whole open letter was about no one within the sort of in the team, but right at the very top of decision making and pulling the strings. And I cannot see one excuse for not communicating. It doesn't have to be we've made a decision, we're interviewing people even. I mean, that's quite nice, they would do that. But it could just be, we want to just be transparent and accountable to you because we know a lot of people believe in this and you've been the lifeblood of the success of this. Here's where we are. Here's what we're thinking. We're taking our time because this time we're highly aware, a bit like British prime ministers, that we're going through quite a lot of leaders and we're evaluating the environment that we get people into, and we want to try and empower them to be the great leaders to take this forward. Who is pulling the strings? That's the other thing I want to know. How much does Tezos play a part? So I mean, I know it's just one of those things that you get a bit of a bee in my bonnet about, really.
Yeah. The thing I would say is that largely a lot of projects don't actually need to do that much. And in fact, the lowest bar to entry is just communication. I saw with Invisible Friends, they hadn't posted for 2 years. People love the art so much. The first post they do saying, oh, we've been invisible and trying to make a joke out of it, even though there's no fucking excuse because they've made I think it was like $50 million in trading volume or something stupid. And they hadn't posted on X on a free platform for 2 years, which is complete bullshit. But the price goes up because people have the nostalgia of going, that was a good project then. And largely because it's a low supply and because of the buying behavior in NFTs, people largely just buy one. And that one becomes very difficult to let go of. So it creates this supply crunch, which is why all you had to do as a project founder was just be visible. And I don't want to make a pun of it or whatever, but they were invisible. And largely most founders have done that. I think Women and Weapons was another one. Women and Weapons was another project which captured the imagination of people. You had the Jake and Sarah, or I think it's spelt Sarah, but it said Sarah, I think. And they launched this project. I think Gary shares it. They then mint out, they make like $2 million or something, and then on secondary sales. And then obviously the market gets softer and you don't hear from them. They're not posted on X. There's a few retweets or something. And you're like, I don't know. But the problem is with a lot of these projects and especially these artists, is they're going to launch more art. They're going to launch more projects. And I just hope, and without sounding gangster here, I hope the streets never forget. I hope when Invisible Friends come out with their next fucking whatever it is, you just go, hey, You didn't post for 2 years on a free platform, and you made millions. Like, what are we talking about here? This is fucking
the
zero
one we
effort.
often talk about that, don't we? And well, there's a couple of things with World of Women. I think it doesn't matter as long as you're clear on what you stand for and what you're trying to do. Do you know what I mean? If someone came in and said, or the board said, look, we're just going to go whittle this down to being a really important provenance-based art collection where we will maybe encourage new artists and we will bring communities together and we'll stage some of the most fantastic real world connected, then people would know where they stand. But what they position themselves as is slightly differently, and therefore you are not managing expectations, and then you have no communication. But you know, Jaden, about the that's why I said we're talking about. I just love the collections that have fought hard and still activated new innovations and creativities and partnerships through a bear market. It's not rocket science. I place my bet on people like that.
I know. Frankly. We're going to come on to that in a second, actually, because there is some positive news, guys. I don't want to make this a fucking
sorry, they're all about
doom and gloom. The other thing I was just actually thinking about is there were some prominent people who launched projects. I mean, like Kevin Rose can never launch another NFT project. I know he did Moonbirds. I know it's largely successful, but he can never launch another one. AJ Vaynerchuk can never launch another NFT project. You're talking about someone who's largely involved in technology. You know, you got Kevin Rose, who's like the most influential person in tech or in Web 2. He can never launch another NFT project. It's just like, it's done. Like, how do you come back from that? You know, same with AJ, and they're both nice guys. They're not bad people. They're good people. They're both actually very good entrepreneurs, which makes you think, hey, this shit's high risk. Which is why I think you are very, very good at spotting good projects, because you see something. I think maybe it's your business background. You can see the behavior pattern. One project that I want to segue onto is Claynosaurs. They are now on Amazon Prime. Simon's cut out. It might be his ex-wife again.
I am here. It's very strange. Oh, hold on.
Simon, what have you touched?
Oh, there I am. How weird. Must have been talking about World of Women. I had a meltdown.
You've got Tezos, the team, calling saying, hey, we want to give you another.
Go on. Yeah, Claynosaurs.
Claynosaurs is a project that you've been speaking about quite often. I, through my own PTSD of getting into projects, I've whittled it down to the ones that I know that are my bankers. But you've spoke about Claynosaurs quite often. I've kind of had the earmuffs on and my eyes have glazed over often because they're a Solana-based project. I didn't want to branch away from Ethereum. I didn't want to learn something new. Maybe that's a blind spot for me. But also it's the PTSD that's kind of holding me back. And then yesterday I see on the timeline that they've now got they've got an Amazon Prime show, which is pretty significant for it to be for the origins of that to be an NFT project. I think is an amazing thing. You were telling me some stuff about it.
Yeah.
But they're now giving out shares. Is that right?
Yes, and we touched upon this a little bit last week about that if you'd held for a certain amount of time, quite a long time, and also I looked at actually my allocation and I realized that also if you locked up your NFT, that also has formed quite a surprisingly large part of the share allocation. It's not just the length of time, it's the fact that you've locked it away. So I got like 795,000 shares, as it were. And God, if I had bought more, stopped buying rubbish and bought about 3 or 4 Claynosaurs instead of having one, God knows.
This is the thing. But it's like double down on your bankers.
Absolutely. But they, so that's the first thing. They get 15% company stock options for long-term NFT holders. And also don't forget and we mentioned this in our own group the other day, because was it David or someone was asking about, do I pay by Sui or Solana for them? And what I said to him was it's Popkins is the second one that was launched over a year ago collection by them, which is on Sui. And you also get some share allocations for holding those. But then they seem to be every week making quite substantial moves and announcements. So that was last week. Then they have the Prime video, or the Prime, very short little clips, but it's like a toe in the water on Prime. And of course, what I was mentioning to you was, that came through about, was it over a year ago, that Sherry Gunther Sugarman, who was an Emmy award winner with Simpsons and Rugrats and Powerpuff Girls or whatever. She is now CEO of Heboo, and Heboo is the platform which is the super fan driven platform for franchises. So they're not just going to be doing their own series, they're out there building a whole new way of getting new quality series out there, instead of it being all controlled by the big players who are making the decisions. It's actually the votes and the backup, which is what it's kind of all about, isn't it? Decentralized ownership, and the owners power the decisions. And one last thing on that, that's a real, I think, parallel with the Down Windows, who are using voters and owners to drive where allocations of funds go to environmental causes. It's the same principle, isn't it? It's a platform where the fans take control.
Yeah, but this is why when you get into NFTs, you can see the capability of what, this can be anything, like royalties, access, ticketing, events, paying for merch. It can do all these things, and it just like opens up your imagination to thinking, hold on a second. The first use case being art, and then art being used as a store of value. And then obviously, but on the flip side of that, you have to deal with, okay, there's a human driving the value behind this. And you said something really interesting that I think you said the CEO of Claynosaurz, he was used to be involved in the Bart Simpson production, or?
Yeah, I was just saying that it was, where are we? I've got the info here. It was Simpsons. Yeah. So the CEO who came in about a year ago was Sherry Gunther Sugarman, an Emmy award winner with Simpsons, Rugrats, etc. Also produced Twilight of the Gods for Netflix. And so I think it was a very, very good move to get someone like that involved in Heboo and Claynosaurz, because who can open doors in places like Prime Video? Who knows their stuff and knows how to make things work in a really cutthroat industry of entertainment and streaming services, you know what I mean? And so I think they've put so many things in place. The team are ex-Disney animators who set up this. And who knows where it'll go, but at the moment it's looking really great for them. And I think, and what I've loved is people from other collections and other founders have really backed them up, haven't they? I'm seeing, Betty and all these people saying, it's a great move for the industry, isn't it? Yeah. And it was a great move for NFTs in general. Yeah. Because if it just highlights NFTs.
You're seeing the little seeds of people engaging with these IPs and not realizing they're NFT projects. I mean, I get it often when I live stream on TikTok. There's a load of people that follow Chimpers, and there's a load of people that follow Gary Vee, without realizing his main business is an NFT project. There's a load of people who would have gone to McDonald's and drank out the fucking Doodles cup, not realizing that's an NFT project. There's a load of people that would have gone to Starbucks and had their Starbucks Odyssey rewards without realizing that was on a blockchain. There's a lot of people that share the GIF with Pudgy Penguins, not realizing that that's an NFT project. And largely, the plushie toys that are sold now in like 4,000 or 5,000 Walmarts and Targets around the US, that there's a portion of the NFT holders that are getting royalties. There's people engaging with V-Friends or collecting the cards, not realizing that the rookie card is the V-Friend Series 2, or the provenance of the project actually started as an NFT project. So there's the little seeds of this stuff going, people are engaging with these massive IPs, and actually it's the NFT. We may not call it NFTs. We may call it digital collectibles, might call it IP ownership, whatever the hell you want to fucking call it. I mean, I was thinking about this the other day when I lived in New Zealand. I played cricket over there. They used to call the card machine electronically function point of sale, or FPOS. So you would say, instead of just paying, you'd say, no, you've got to go to the FPOS machine and pay. But you had to, because they didn't come to your table because it was old school. You had to go to the till and pay on the FPOS machine. So the waitress or the waiter would come up to you and say, you need to go pay on the FPOS. And it's just like all of these things, you know, obviously we'd say, like when the internet first came out, you'd say World Wide Web. Now you just say the internet, you know. So like we say, non-fungible tokens. I don't know what we say, digital collectibles or digital assets. So I just think
just assets. You know, it may just be assets. Because actually, it becomes so frictionless, and you don't really need to know that much, which is what we've all said. And the other thing is, you know, I was banging on about 8 months ago to you. I put things on LinkedIn about tokenization and how I think businesses should utilize tokenization. And you were saying to me quite rightly, it's a big leap of putting dots together there to try and, from a starting position, to try and just talk about it. I remember I did it with I kind of tested it out with 2 colleagues, and they were half asleep by the bloody end of it. And they said, yeah, could you just get to the point where how this benefits us? Because I'm going, and the history is this, and they're going, I'm not interested, which really was a good lesson. But one last thing on that is we're talking off air about, and we mentioned it last week, RWAs and digitals.
Yeah.
What I think is the reason why I think that's such a great way is it's almost inadvertently educating people, because it gets people curious, doesn't it? They go, so I'm tokenizing gold, or I'm tokenizing this. Yeah. Okay. And then they maybe in their moments out, they reflect on, God, so, and they look into what that meant and what that means for them. And then they suddenly go, oh, hold on. You mean I can transfer this massive asset in terms of ownership across borders? And you mean I can just sell it really quickly? And it just happens instantly.
Yeah. The thing is with buying gold is you have a receipt of ownership. It's just on a centralized platform. So you have a digital receipt that gets emailed to you that you don't own, that you can't then sell or whatever. You have to go through an intermediary to be able to sell it.
Yes.
And it takes away the friction, obviously, if it's on a distributed ledger system. But yeah, and I think people are understanding it more through these loot and gacha platforms where they're buying these alternative assets and actually realizing, hold on a second, I'm getting this 3D rendered image, which is on a bespoke blockchain, which is an NFT, but they're not calling it an NFT. They're just calling it a digital collectible. But those are outpacing the physical assets 3-to-1 because there's no friction. You can sit at home with an internet signal. You can do these card breaks or box breaks or whatever. You can collect these assets. Because there's no redemptions, obviously these platforms have a lot of liquidity, so they can back the assets by like 95% or 90%. It takes away the friction. You haven't got to list it on eBay and then send it out and then they send it back because they're a scammer or fucking whatever.
Yes. And Jaden, the other thing is that, you know, it's almost like a principle of, to learn something, you've got to be already using it, which is how you might think an RWA is. So I've now got a tokenized gold, brilliant, because someone told me that would be a good way of shifting it and moving it in ownership. And then you start learning about the underlying technology. Instead of someone that I was trying to do was from cold, because no one's actually using it, I'm just telling them about it. It's probably going to be less powerful than I'm already now using it. Now tell me, now I want to know what else this can do. You mean I can use it to get into venues and I can transport it instantly and I might get airdrops and I might, you know what I mean? And so that's, for me, is you've got to be using it to learn it. It's a better way of onboarding people.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I want to just segue slightly into something that you said earlier. Obviously, a huge portion of the space is just attention that leads to buying flows. More amplified attention comes onto the space when people have more money, drives the price up, creates this reinforced flywheel of more attention, more money, price go up. And this is why you get these exponential price rises. But you said something interesting before we got on air, which was the X algorithm is now slightly changed. It's showing you a lot more of your content to your mutuals. Largely my mutuals on X are people who are into NFTs and crypto, which is great for me, which should be really good for my engagement, hopefully. Do you think that has a significant impact? Do you think it's just another thing that could lead to a domino effect?
I don't know about you, but I think it's another factor in getting people feeling positive, feeling listened to, feeling engaged, feeling people can communicate and get a response, because it prioritizes, as you say, mutual followers. And also, I think there's something about less spam and more real talk is what kind of the messages you're getting. And I think someone said like X just fixed crypto Twitter.
Yeah.
And so that smaller voices get heard, spam goes, mutuals boosted. And I can't see how that wouldn't be helpful, because we all know that when people are talking about something, it brings attention. And if more
Yeah.
people are seeing what people are talking about, it's just much more energizing. Because I think, like everyone was saying, it was becoming a complete, nightmare getting all this stuff you didn't want to see. And suddenly you're going to be
Yeah.
seeing more of what you want to see and the people you want to see.
I'm seeing a lot of political stuff I don't want to see. I'm seeing a lot of, especially US, and also a lot of conflict. A lot of like, I'll flick open the app and then someone's having a random fight in a street, or someone's got
I
road
get that
rage.
a lot.
Someone's getting road rage. I'm like, I don't want to see this shit. But obviously, it's
They're
just
trying
like
to tell me something, trying to tell us something.
But I think if you just click like to the stuff that you like, it shows more of that, and that's what I've kind of done recently. But it's kind of like there's just too much. Like one that I see quite a lot is you get these people who infiltrate these rallies, and they're a reporter, and then they ask leading questions to the people at these rallies. And it's people on both sides. It's people on on the left. You'll get a Republican reporter who he'll be in the pride flag as his shirt or whatever. So it disarms them, and he'll ask them, he'll ask them things that maybe he pretends that, say, Kamala Harris has said, but actually Trump has said them, and whether they agree with it or not. And they say, well, Kamala Harris has said this, and then they'll answer, and then he'll be like, actually, no, Trump said it. But it's on the other side as well. It's on the Republican side as well, which is interesting.
Yes, I do think it's going to make a difference. Well, we'll see, won't we? It's only just happened, hasn't it? It's only just activated the different.
Yeah, well, let's see. Let's see. In terms of the TokenWorks ecosystem, we talk about this often. I like to talk about it because I still think it looks a good asset, because it's still pegged to CryptoPunks. CryptoPunks reached 34 Ethereum, so we saw a little bit of a rally with Punk strategy. I think also a function of Punk strategy is Ethereum. When ETH goes up, there's this optical rising effect, which is interesting. Any kind of thoughts on that ecosystem? Obviously, Adam seems to be releasing new stuff often.
Yes.
Any other thoughts from?
Just that I think that, well, the thing I'm a little bit surprised about, and maybe it's just not knowing how it all works, but more founders or more collections, especially even new ones, not maybe they are considering it, but no, to appear to be considering launching their own TokenWorks coin. For all sorts of reasons. You've often said, haven't you, Jaden, why wouldn't you do that? If you said, I think 6 months ago, if I was a new collection, one of the things I would definitely do is launch a TokenWorks token on my collection, because it would just bring so much more energy, focus, excitement, attention. It could start that flywheel going with the collection. And I'm wondering why people aren't. Is it just because they perceive that it's been, which it hasn't, because it's a flywheel, abandoned, or
well, or what? I think obviously they're a function of financial conditions. If you look at OpenSea haven't launched their token, and I think it's right. I know it pissed a lot of people off, but the thing is if someone gets something for free in a down market, it creates sell pressure, and there could be a death spiral to zero. But if someone gets something that they anticipate is going to go up in price, then they hold on to it. It's as simple as that. And I think, it's one thing to even launch an NFT project in this market, although there are new mints, and some of them are doing really well.
Some are doing well.
We had, what was it? Was it the Gremlins that did like a fucking 5 or a 6x?
Yes.
And there are these isolated projects that will do this, and there's more and more of them, which I think is interesting. But there's one thing to launch an NFT project, but then obviously to peg a strategy token on the end of it, I think it's going to be
a bit too much at the moment.
It's bull market territory when you're doing those sorts of things, which is why I think the Punk strategy token outperforms, simply because it's CryptoPunks has to get to 100
Yes.
ETH, 200 ETH. And then at those prices, when ETHs are all-time highs, it's burning a shit ton of punk strategy, almost to a point where you're like, fucking hell, you'll just get to a stage where it's like, okay, well, this has got to go up. But it'll be one of these things, I think, which is obvious in hindsight. I'm not leaning into punk
I agree
strategy
with you.
anymore. I'm not buying any more of it. I think I've had a little bit of frustration with Adam, because I think he's talking about this thing being his golden goose, instead of amplifying the thing that he's just by doing basic stuff like, hey,
Yes.
come on our live stream, talk about what's happening, and then, not have your insecurity be, no, I'm not going to put out marketing slop. It's not marketing slop. It's basic communication. He runs the TokenWorks X account. That is a bottleneck. He needs someone else on that, because he's not posting anywhere near enough, not engaging anywhere near enough, not using any of the capital to help produce or get good content creators to produce good content around it. I've wrote the most viral blog on punk strategy. It got in 2 posts that I've done, it's got 50,000 views, which whatever, if you want to whittle that down to maybe 10 or 15,000 reads. And I did it, but what he should be doing is trying to promote more of that. He should be saying, hey, look, there should be more attention flows on it. And actually, largely the value for NFT founders to launch a strategy token is majorly valuable, especially obviously the floor price of the NFT has got to be to a certain level, because if it's low, then why would you buy the strategy token? Why wouldn't you just buy the NFT? So largely, he's got to lean into the NFT projects that have some degree of success behind them. But using market buying your own token and using it as a lead magnet, or in the same way that Chimpers did, they gave 1,000 Chimpster to people that were bridging over. And I think that's a whole another conversation. I think more NFT projects need to bridge over to a contract that have a royalty.
I agree. And don't forget that Chimpers, that we talked about last week, have made some changes so that to their strategy tokens, so people can transfer between wallets to each other. They're opening it up, so it just shows you that you can innovate around it. And I love seeing that, because that's just people getting innovative and thinking outside the box with something, thinking we've got this thing. It's, we're going to make sure we really do something with it. So I agree. Punkster definitely. Chimpster probably would be a good one as well, if when it all starts to come back, because they're so on it.
But I actually think the strategy token is a litmus test into whether the project's successful, because you can't launch a strategy token if your thing's not successful, because the NFT is within reach and no one's going to buy the strategy token. But also, if your NFT project's successful and it's driving revenue, and then you go the extra step of market buying your own token, then it becomes interesting. Then it can almost be like, hold on a second, I'm buying a token which is directly linked to the productivity of a company. You imagine a bit like companies that have a CSR approach, where they say, right, we're going to give 5% of our company profits to a certain charity. If they just said, right, we're going to give 5% or 10% of our profits, we're going to market buy our own token, that becomes really interesting, because that then becomes a direct, you're getting exposure to a direct asset, which has got direct, not direct, it's giving you exposure to the productivity of a company, which then all of a sudden becomes a lot less speculation and a lot more value driven. And it almost operates like a stock. Which is it's a strange way of looking at it, but
I agree. I think it will come back into its own when things start to go. It's almost kind of programmed to do that. Really, that's the whole point, isn't it?
Guys, just to the 27 that have joined us, I obviously really appreciate all of you. If you want to obviously support the live streams, those who share it out, it really does mean a lot, because that's how we get more kind of viewership. But if you want to listen to the live stream back, you can do it at carrotlane.com or /subscribe. Obviously, we have a private membership. There is a founding group. You're welcome to join or make inquiries. You can drop me a DM, which would be really good. We're obviously going to finish things there, Simon, but I really appreciate you joining, and obviously the 28 as well. But yeah, really appreciate you joining, Simon, and we'll join you next week at 8:30 Eastern time. I did this closing last week, and Bird somehow thought it was 3 p.m. But we'll see you again next week at 8:30 Eastern time over on X and Substack. Really appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining. Until next week. Cheers, Simon.
Thank you. Cheers.